In this tutorial, we're going to look at changing the layout of your project page. This is something that only project administrators can do, so I'm logged in as an administrator of the Pilot Projects Forum. Now, in a previous tutorial, we looked at organizing the content of your page, and I had come up with a little model of the Pilot Projects Forum front page on my desktop to illustrate how this page was organized. So let's just look at this model again to review how pages are organized. So here are the folders and the sticky note I created to represent the Pilot Projects Forum homepage. And if we look at the actual page here, we can see how they correlate. So for example, in this right-hand column over here, we see that there are 3 containers holding the recent comments, the events, and the project wikis. And you can see here that they're represented by these 3 folders. So if a project member adds some event, or if someone makes a comment on something in the project, they'll go into those containers for the content. So the content gets organized by being put into these folders, but we can also change the layout of these folders if we want to. So if we look at the layout of the Pilot Projects Forum front page right now, we can see that we've got a 2-column layout with each container stacked on top of one another in these 2 columns. So here's the left column with these containers and the right column with these other containers. And you can see the right column is also more narrow than the left column. So looking at our model here, this section would be the left column and this section would be the right column. Now if we take a look at the back-end representation of this page, we'll see that this 2-column layout is represented there as well. So let's click on Pages and click on Edit Content for the home page. So here we see these 2 columns represented by the 2 areas here, the main area and the right sidebar. So I can change the way these containers are arranged on my page by clicking and dragging from one area to the next, or by changing the order in which they are in one area. But what if I want something other than just this 2-column layout presented to me here? Now, in order to do that, I'm going to go back to my Pages tab and click on Change Layout. So in this page, I can see that my current layout is a 2-column layout, with the left column being a little bit wider than the right column. But I have a whole bunch of other layouts that I can choose from, with a different number of regions arranged in different ways. So previously, I had 2 regions right next to each other, but I can have more regions or fewer regions if I want. So let's try this new layout, the 2-column bricks. That looks nice and complicated. So we'll click Next and see how that changes my regions when I go back to edit the content. Now it goes to a page that asks me how I want to transfer my content from the first layout to the second. Now, I'm not really going to worry about this. I'm going to do more fine-tuning and rearranging anyways in my Edit Content page. So I'll just click on Save. So now that I've changed the layout, I'm going to click on Edit Content and see how that's changed things. Okay, now I can see that I have way more areas here in which to rearrange my content containers. I have a top bar here, which has all of my content containers right now. I have a middle bar, I have a bottom bar, and then I have these 2-column spaces mashed in between. So let's just move some of these containers around now. Now I want my welcome message to be in a prominent position on the page, so we'll just leave that at the top. I'll put my project news in this left column, the recent comments in the right column, events in this middle, and the wiki in this left below right here. And then I'll click on Save. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Let's go back to the home page. Okay. Well, I'm not really sure if this looks all that good. The welcome message looks fine, but the project news is taking up a lot more space than the recent comments, so we've got some empty space right here. And then down below, the events is taking up more space than it needs over here, and then Project Wikis kind of just looks like it's hanging out in no man's land. So let's see if we can fix this a little. I think I'm going to try to put the events and the wikis in this column over here and save some space. So I'm going to go back to pages, click on edit content, and now I'm going to move these two containers over to this right column. Then I'll click on save. Now let's go back to the home page and see how that looks. Okay, that looks a lot better. It's using the space more effectively, and it looks a little bit more organized. So it takes a little bit of trial and error when you change the layout of your page to get it to look good. And some layouts may be better suited for your project than others, but you can figure that out by trial and error. So if you're thinking about changing the layout of your project, you can think of it in two steps. First, you can go to Pages, Change Layout, and from here you can change which regions you have access to and the way those regions are arranged. Then you can go back to Pages, click on Edit Content, and from there you can do the fine-tuning, moving of your containers in the layout that you chose. So that is how you change the layout for your project. If you have any questions about this tutorial, or if you have suggestions for another tutorial, feel free to click on the Contact tab in the main navigation of the THL site and send us a message. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the lab.